Okay, so welcome back to UFOs Above Us. All right, this is Matt again, and I'm covering a video that I shot of the moon surface very recently. And I will say up front that you do see a lot of the jello effect in this video. And the jello it's what I call it when you get that bouncing of the atmosphere, kind of instability of the atmosphere. But the atmosphere was clear. So I thought I'd go ahead and today just share a raw video as I talk about it here. And I thought as it goes, I'll just point out some features that I noticed and encourage any discussion or thoughts on what you think they are. I'll share what I think. The first one is this one right here. If you see that right there, and I'll pause it just briefly so we can see this one before it goes off screen. So there is definitely a disc-shaped object right there sitting on a flat pad, and you can kind of see a ridge around the pad right there. So, I mean, the obvious thought on that is, could it be a craft, a flying saucer, so to speak? I don't know. All I know is when you look at all these objects, you have to ask yourself, do you really think that they're naturally occurring, or do they have some intelligent design? And I would argue that many of the features in this video show the obvious telltale signs of intelligent design. For example, let's just take this area right in here. You see an obvious V. Let me stop it before we leave that area. Go back just a hair. Okay, this area in here, you see an obvious V right here. You see an obvious rectangle. You see an X right there. How are those naturally occurring? And you know they're not. People on YouTube that are thinking, open-minded people know these things are not naturally occurring. So as I view this, I just ask you, why is it that this is actual footage of the moon that I shot myself? And by the way, I've spent a lot of money to gather the gear to be able to collect images like this. Why is it that NASA pictures never depict the moon this way? And, you know, there's an obvious reason for that. I'm trying to catch it when it's not shaking so we can look at this picture. Just look at this area right in here, for example. Do you see what's kind of buried in the regolith right here? Look at that right there. I bet some of y'all didn't notice that till just now, but look at that. What is that? I don't know what it is, but it is triangular in shape, and it does have a perfectly centered circle in the middle of it. And so the question I would argue, and the question that kind of shouts out here, what is that doing on the moon? That's not naturally occurring. Somebody put it there. And I want to know, why is it that NASA refuses to show us the true images of the moon? As I zoom in here, it becomes glaringly obvious. Something's there. I mean, that's not just happenstance. That's not just chance. It's not an asteroid striking the moon in a triangular depression. That's somebody putting it there. I mean, that is intelligent design, if I ever saw it. And it's on our moon, and there's never a word spoken by NASA. And this is a good time. You know, I had to kind of lay low on YouTube for 6 months. And I will say this, I still am in full support of the government. I'm not one of these conspiracy theory guys that hates the government. I think the United States government must have a reason for what they do. But it's clear to me, look at this one right here, by the way. Freeze it real quickly so we can see that. There's another triangle right there, and you can see that it looks like it's elevated. So what is that? These two right here are both compelling reasons why I say the government or NASA or whatever you want to say is hiding the truth from the public. Now, why? I feel like there must be some logical reason, but if you looked at my last video, it's really forced me to rethink what's going on. And, you know, as I mentioned to a fellow YouTuber, Cindy Luhu, which if you haven't subscribed to her channel, you should. She's a neat person, and it's really she has some nice videos. But I said, I wonder how deep the rabbit hole goes. And there's no telling what all is being hidden from us. And maybe this year you'll see some more fascinating things that will just kind of close the book on, is there intelligent life on the moon? I know there is, and you may too this year, but we'll see. So let's keep looking at the moon, and as we kind of drift back to the right, feel free to make comments on any structures you see here. I mean, this is one that I spent some time looking at. It's kind of reminded me of a crane right there. So let's see if I can catch it where it's a decent, and it's kind of fuzzy still, but there's a right angle right here, plain as day. And it kind of reminded me of a crane. So I wonder if that's not part of some mining operation. But you know, as I stop the image here, that gives you a real good look at that X. Is there any way you could possibly explain that away as naturally occurring? And there's not. It doesn't happen. That's intelligent design. So why aren't we being shared? Why isn't the truth being shared with the public? I mean, it is our tax dollars funding that project. So why don't we get to know the truth? And I don't know, and I would like to. So hopefully this year I will understand more about it one way or the other. But for now, I'm just kind of making our way back through the video. And this whole area here looks very engineered to me. I mean, if I were a betting man, I would say that is an entire city right there. And what they're doing, I don't know, but this right here looks like kind of the cornerstone of it. You got this giant square black hole. I wonder what that is. And more importantly, I wonder why no photographs of the moon ever show this stuff. And to me, it's just inexcusable that this is, you know, after all this effort, this is what it really looks like. And yet nothing from the government shows this. Nothing from NASA, nothing from other space agencies shows the true surface of the moon. And there's lots of clues kind of hidden for us. Things that astronauts have said, for example, that would indicate there might be more to it than we're being shown. But I just want the truth. That's all I want. And this year, I'm more than ever, I'm reminding people, keep watching the skies. The answers are up there.